Hello, good evening and welcome to Indian Weekender. I'm Swati Sharma and today we are bringing you the first episode of Immigration Now, a show about New Zealand immigration and the issues related to visa and immigration New Zealand. So today in the first episode, our topic is essential skilled work visa, and to discuss more about that, we have in our studio a special guest. Please welcome Samip Shah from Aussizz Group. Aussizz Group is a well-known immigration consultant group from Australia and New Zealand. And Samip will tell us more about your questions, whatever questions you've sent us, and whatever you're going to ask in the comments today. He will be discussing more about essential skilled work visa with us. So to start with, Samip, first of all, welcome to Indian Weekender.
Thank you, Swati.
And to start with, please tell us what an essential skilled work visa exactly is, because there are so many work visas. There is post-study work visa,
yes.
Then there is post-study work visa, employer assisted, then essential skilled work visa. So what exactly this visa is?
Sure. So it's a very good question. So basically, there are different categories of work visas, and out of these categories, the three most popular categories are the post-study open work visa, which you can apply for once you've completed your studies in New Zealand most of the time. The second is post-study employer-assisted work visa, which can be applied for if you have an offer letter from your employer related to your studies. Now, the essential skills work visa is actually for those who may not have completed the studies from New Zealand and may have suitable experience, or they can be termed as suitably qualified. And it is mainly for people who have experience and suitable qualifications, and they've got an offer letter that is related to that.
So it doesn't matter if they've studied here or not.
Yes.
It's irrespective of their New Zealand tertiary qualifications. If they've got relevant experience, then they can apply for essential skilled work visa.
So they have to be suitably qualified. So suitably qualified means they either have to be experienced in the relevant area, or they could have a suitable qualifications regardless of whether it is from New Zealand or from overseas.
For example, if we talk about, let's say, journalism, if I had experience in journalism back in India and I had studied journalism back in India but not here, say I came here with my partner and he studied something else, and I've not studied anything in New Zealand, but I would still be qualified for essential skilled work visa
may be eligible,
in this field.
Based on the education that you have from, let's say, if you've done it from overseas, yes, you could be eligible for the essential skills visa based on that degree.
Right.
Yes.
So how long is the duration of this visa?
So that's a good question as well. Now, the duration of your visa would really depend on what ANSCO skill level job you've assigned your job role to. So basically, what I'll do first is I want to give you a distinction between your job title and the ANSCO occupation.
Okay.
So every title needs a corresponding ANSCO occupation. So ANSCO is nothing but it's a database that the Australian and New Zealand government has collaborated and just have a lot of occupations in that. So basically, what one needs to do, either employer or employee, is when you are offered a job, you need to find the corresponding ANSCO code as per that offer, based on your duties and based on your title.
Right.
Now, every ANSCO code has a skill level, ranging from skill level 1 to skill level 5. So let's say that if you have a position which has a corresponding ANSCO skill level 1, skill level 2, or skill level 3, and that then needs to correlate to how much you are actually getting paid. So to answer your question in terms of what is the duration of the visa, we'll need to take into account two things. The first is how much you're getting paid, and the second thing is what ANSCO skill level your job falls under.
Right.
So let's say that if I am getting paid more than $36.44, $36.45, then you don't have to worry about what ANSCO skill level your job is.
But
you could get a visa with a duration of 5 years, up to 5 years.
Right, but do you think people or migrants get a job where they get pay rates as equal to $36?
So there are different factors. So basically that's the first. So let's say that if you get paid so much, if you get paid hourly basis, which is more than $36.45, then you don't have to really think about what ANSCO skill level your occupation falls under. But let's say that you fall under, so what Immigration New Zealand has done is they've actually categorized your occupation into 3 levels, and that is skill, low skill, mid skill, and high skill.
Right.
Now, most of the applicants would fall under mid skill. That is, you will have you will be paid anywhere between $25.65 to $36.44, and you would have got into a job which is ANSCO skill level 1, 2, or 3. And because of that, you could be granted a visa for up to 2 years.
Okay.
Right. So that's the first thing. The low skilled employees, which is you have either you are doing an ANSCO job, which is ANSCO skill level 4 or skill level 5,
Yeah.
and you are getting paid less than $20.65. For them, they could only get a visa for up to 1 year. And there is a condition in which they need to make sure that they can only apply for this visa 3 times. So if you are doing a low skill job and you've already, let's say you get the visa, essential skills work visa for the first time, you can then only apply for the 2 more times.
Right.
After that, you get subject to a stand down period, which means that you'll have to spend 12 months outside of New Zealand
Okay.
before you could reapply for the visa.
12 months, an
Yes.
entire year. Okay.
So that is if you're doing a low skill job.
Right. Okay. And if they're doing a job which falls in categories 1, 2, 3?
So if you're doing a job which falls in category 1, 2, 3, there is no restrictions as to how many times you can actually apply for the visa.
Right.
Given that you stay in the mid skill or the high skill category.
Okay.
And so that would really depend on what ANSCO skill level is and how much you're getting paid.
Okay. Well, then that's the duration, but if we go towards the pay rate, what is the minimum threshold that Immigration New Zealand has currently assigned for, essential skill work visa?
So, like SMC, which is skilled migrant category, there
Yeah.
is no minimum threshold. So your pay will obviously you'd have to be paid minimum as per the New Zealand employment laws. But if your pay is above that but below $20.65, you'd be considered low band skilled employment. I mean,
Okay.
your employment would be considered low band skilled.
Okay.
But that's the only thing that happens. But there is no minimum that you need to be paid. There are different rules. So what happens is, if you are doing a low skill job, then your employer has to make or do a lot of additional things that skill level 1, skill level 2, or skill level 3, or rather a mid skill or a high skill occupation would not have to go through. So the essential skills work visa, what you need to do, make sure is your employer has to post an ad on popular websites like Seek or TradeMe. They can post an ad on their website as well, and where and how long the ad needs to run for depends on your skill level of the occupation. So let's say that if I'm doing a skill level 1, 2, 3 job, or
Right.
I've been offered that job, then my ad needs to run for at least 2 weeks.
Okay.
And if I'm doing a skill level 4 or skill level 5 job, or if I've been offered that job, then my ad needs to run for 1 week at least. But at
Okay.
the same time, I also have to obtain a skills match report from Work and Income.
What is that?
So what happens is, if you're doing a low skill job, then you have to contact Work and Income, and you have to post your vacancy at Work and Income as well.
Okay.
Now, what Work and Income does is they try and find a suitable candidates that are either New Zealand citizens or residents. So for essential skills, one thing that everyone needs to know is, before you are considered for this visa as a person who's not a New Zealand citizen or a resident or a citizen needs to be given a first chance.
Right.
So when your employer has posted the job, or when Work and Income gets the vacancy, they will try and see if there is any New Zealand citizen or resident who's suitable to do this job.
And this Work and Income option, is that only for low skilled ones, or is that
So
does that
you
apply
only
to all
need to get a skills match for a job that is skill level 4 or skill level 5.
5? All right.
Now, what will happen is, even if your occupation has nothing to do with the skill level. It is more to do with your salary. So let's say that if I'm, for example, a mid-level management person, I've been offered that job, and let's say my ANSCO corresponding code is 3. So I'm doing a skill level 3 ANSCO code.
Yeah.
But because I'm getting paid, let's say $19 an hour,
Yeah.
I'd still be considered low skill.
Okay.
So you need to meet 2 conditions. One is that you need to be paid within that range, but at the same time, your ANSCO skill level should also fall under that category.
Right. Okay. So before moving ahead, I would request our viewers, if they have any questions about essential skill work visa, then they can post in the comments, and we will request Samip to answer those questions as well. So Samip, while they post their questions in the comments, I've got some questions that our viewers and our readers have already emailed or messaged us on our Facebook page.
Sure.
So the first question is from Ayush. He says that my question is, if my employer gives a contract of 48 hours, salary 46,000 as a duty manager in hotel, will I be able to get 3-year work visa, or I will only get 1-year visa?
Okay, so that's a good question. So basically, the way immigration would calculate your remuneration would be on an hourly basis. So what you will have to consider is, I'll just give you an example. So let's say that if I'm getting paid $52,000 per annum, but I'm actually contracted to work for 50 hours a week, then my hourly remuneration becomes $20 an hour. So what I have to do is I have to divide my annual salary by the 52, which is the weeks in a year, and then divide that by the number of hours I'm working. So let's say that if I've been contracted to work for 50 hours, then I divide that by 50. Now let's say that my contract says that I'm doing variable, I have to do variable hours.
Yeah.
In that case, what immigration will consider is the week in which you have worked the maximum hours. And you'll have to divide your weekly salary by the maximum number of hours you've worked, which will determine your hourly rate. Now, if your hourly rate again falls below $20.65, then you are considered to be low skilled, in which case you'll only get a 1-year visa.
Well, I hope, Ayush, you got your question answered. Next question is by Money Well. I'm doing graduate diploma in applied management in manufacturing, but the college is teaching wood manufacturing courses, but the strand is common manufacturing strand. So after my study completion, can I go for any manufacturing companies? And question number 2, previously I had studied aeronautical engineering in India, and now I am doing manufacturing course here. So if I get job in aircraft manufacturing sector, the immigration will the immigration support my work visa?
So there are 2 things you'll need to make sure. The first is, if you are applying for an essential visa, essential work visa, then all you have to make sure is you're suitably qualified. So with post-study employer assisted, you have to be studying in New Zealand, or you should have completed your studies in New Zealand, and your job should be related to your New Zealand studies. With essential skills work visa, you have to be suitably qualified. So as I explained before, if you have work experience from the past that relates to the job that you've been offered, and when you compare the suitability, never compare the suitability in terms of the position that you've been offered, rather compare it with the duties. So what you have to do is you have to try and see the duties that you carried out in your past experience, in your past work, with the duties that you have been offered, and see if they substantially match with each other. If they do substantially match with each other, find a corresponding ANSCO code and see if it substantially matches with that. In that case, if it does match, then yes, you could be qualified for this visa. Another thing, given that you've mentioned that you have done aeronautical engineering and you are looking for a job that is related to that, you may require registration or license. So basically, check the occupation that you are thinking of applying and see if it needs a registration or license from the body that administers the entire occupation.
Right. So I hope, Mani, you've got your question answered. And if you're watching this, if you have any further questions, you can post in the comments below. I've got a question from the viewers who are watching us live. Simranjot Kaur says, what are the requirements for duty manager position and skill level? What is the skill level required for duty manager
So
position?
for a duty manager, the ANSCO corresponding code would be skill level 1, assuming that it's a highest position in probably in that organization that you're thinking about applying. The duties will correspond to any basic management duties. So basically, maybe it's to do with bookkeeping or a bit of bookkeeping, not the entire bookkeeping, but just managing books and just monitoring your staff and things like that. But in order to get the details of exactly what a duty manager is supposed to do, best is you go to the AVS website and search for duty managers and see what tasks you get. I don't remember the tasks on top of my head, but that's the best way to find what a duty manager needs to do.
But anyway, if you go and check the website about the task that duty manager needs to do, you can always contact Samip after this video. How do they contact you, Samip?
So what you can do is you can ring us on 0800 287 749, book an appointment. When you bring your contract and hopefully it'll have the duties, then our job would be to find a corresponding ANSCO code that relates to your job. And then we can give you some personalized advice in terms of what occupation should you select.
Right, obviously. So we will also post the number where you can contact Aussizz Group or Samip in the description later on after the video is done. So I've got another question from one of our readers, Niharika. She says, my husband is going to apply for Essential Skill Work Visa as a daily manager in New World. I'm working in New Zealand since 2015. My question is, do I get visitor visa or work visa if my husband is on Essential Skill Work Visa? Because I have heard that immigration changed the rules from August 17 onwards. If anyone on Essential Skill Work Visa and their partner is not allowed to work. So will immigration provide visitor visa to the partners, or how does it work?
Okay, so basically you need to remember two things. Now, as I said, if your husband is working as a manager, that is not the only thing that you'll have to check. The first thing you'll have to determine is what skill level your husband will be working under. So what skill level occupation as per the ANSCO, but also as per the Immigration New Zealand. So as we've discussed, the way you determine the skill level or skill band rather, not the skill level, is how much you're getting paid on an hourly basis, but at the same time what skill level, ANSCO skill level your occupation falls under. Now, because the occupation under which your husband will be working would probably fall under skill level 1 or skill level 2, given that he'd be working as a duty manager, you just have to make sure and check how much would he be getting paid on an hourly basis. If it's more than $20.65 an hour, then he will be considered to be he would be falling under the mid skill band, which means that you can apply for a work visa under partnership. If it turns out to be a low band skill job, then you will not be able to apply for even a visitor's visa or a work visa under partnership. You'll have to be applying on your own. Now, there are some caveats, or there are some provisions that New Zealand immigration has also announced along with these changes. And one of the changes that they announced, or one of the provision that they announced, is if you were under the partnership visa prior to 28th of August 2017, then you become eligible to apply for the partnership-based visas. But let's say that if you are applying for a partnership-based visa for the first time, then you'll need to check what your husband's employment offer ANSCO code is, and at the same time how much he's getting paid on an hourly basis.
Right. So we will quickly move on to the next questions because we've got plenty of questions here. David Kakkar asks, my mum is here on parent category visa and I'm looking to start a boutique business, and she has experience of 10 years in altering and dressmaking. Can I apply for essential skill work visa? I'm assuming he's asking for his mother.
Sure. So look, I mean, as long as it's a genuine employment and it's a genuine vacancy, I don't see it as a problem. Given that your mother is suitably qualified to do the job, and as you said that she has 10 years of work experience, then she probably is suitably qualified. All you have to again do is find out the corresponding occupation and see what skill level it will fall under, and see whether you need to obtain a skills match report as well as the ad that you would normally have to post to get going.
Right. Okay. I have a question here because it might be a silly question as well, but they say no question is a silly question, so I will still ask. So, for example, my mother she knows stitching, for example, and but she hasn't done a job. She's been doing it on her own for like several years. If I had to apply for an essential skilled work visa for a boutique for her, how would that count? Because she doesn't have a job.
It would be hard to find. So to be termed as suitably qualified, you really have to prove evidence. So
right.
Even if she has worked
Right.
for so long doing what she has been doing, if you have no evidence to show, then it becomes very hard to prove.
Right.
Right. So if she had been self-employed and she had been raising invoice and things like that for the clients, then maybe there could be a potential to make an application. So
right. Thank you. Yeah. So I will move on to the next question. There's another reader who doesn't want to have his name mentioned. So I have an offer to work as an assistant manager in franchisee Pizza Hut store. Right now I'm on employer-assisted post-study work visa on duty manager position. Now, can you be able to explain how can I apply for my next visa? My current one expires in August this year. What are the requirements for pay scale on this position? Do my employer need to list this job and work and income? What is the time frame, if you can cover these things?
Sure.
So, yeah.
So, if you're on a posted employer-assisted visa at the moment, you can apply for essential skills work visa, given that you are suitably qualified. So, basically, what your employer will need to make sure is they post a vacancy in not only Pizza Hut but also outside of Pizza Hut, like websites like Seek Train Me. Have it there for 2 weeks at least. Consider New Zealand citizens or residents first and see if they could qualify or they are trainable to do this job that you have been offered. If they find nobody that is qualified to do this job or that is suitable to do this job, then they can offer you this position. Given that you are suitable and you have everything that your employer requires. So in terms of the pay, that is something your employer will have to determine, but the duration of the visa will again depend on how much you're getting paid and what skill level job you've done.
Yeah, well, I hope you've got your answer. We've got David Kakkar here. David, if you weren't watching this video, we just answered your question about your mom opening the boutique. So that's what Samip said, that if you could prove that she had worked in that particular job position.
So through either if she was self-employed or if she had worked before, then you need to show that she has experience or she had experience and that the job that you intend to offer is not only genuine, that your organization requires this position to be filled, but you also have to make sure that your mother is suitably qualified to do this job. And again, you have to make sure that your employer, you have to be a direct employer. So that's
direct and genuine employer.
Yes.
All right. Another question that one of our viewers has sent, Shifali. My husband has recently got his job as a mechanical engineer, quality control. The company had posted advertisement in August and he had applied at that time, but unfortunately he was not selected at that time. So company again went through all the applications and contacted him in March and he was selected this time. So will that advertisement that he posted last year be still counted?
That's a good question. So the advertisement, the valid advertisement is when it's only valid for 3 months from the date it gets posted.
Right.
So right from the date it got posted, you have to count 3 months from that. If it's gone past that time, then it's no longer valid. You'll have to re-advertise, or your employer will have to re-advertise.
Well, I hope, Shifali, you got your answer. We've got another question from one of our readers who also doesn't want to be named. I want to know that if I have 3-year visa already, can I then apply again once it is expired? And how many times I can keep applying? I think you've already answered that.
Sure. So it again depends on your skill level and the skill band rather. So if you feel that because immigration has only made these changes, I don't think if anybody has applied for 3 times. since it changes as
No, actually, he says that he has 3 years visa. So I think what he means is that once he applied and in that one go, he got a 3-year visa.
So basically, that could mean that you are mid-skill, I'm assuming, and if it stays as mid-skill, then yes, you can reapply for the visa. There's no restrictions for you to reapply.
2 more times.
Yeah, no, only if you're doing a slow band, then you have restrictions to apply for 3 times.
Okay, okay.
So as long as you're in the mid skill band or the high skill band, there is no restrictions.
You can apply.
If you're doing a low skill band job, then the restrictions apply where you can only apply for up to 3 times, and that is after the 28th of August 2017.
Right. Okay, great. So there you go. You can apply as many times as you want. Consider that you just maintain your skill level. Well, we'll move on to the next question from Kanav. I came to New Zealand in 2012 and working in IT industry since more than 4 years. I have given English test, IELTS test and PTE twice, but I'm scoring 6 overall. Is there any other way so Immigration in New Zealand can consider my overall 6 bands, or as I have more than 4 year experience in New Zealand, is my stream, my area, so will that be considered?
So I assume you're asking this question because you want to apply for residency. In terms of essential skills or any other work visa, you don't actually have to prove that you have English language abilities.
Yeah.
So with skilled migrant category, given that you are, you can have experience in New Zealand for over 5 years, but at the same time, if you want to be exempt, then you have to be a citizen for either UK, USA, Ireland, New Zealand or Australia, not New Zealand but Australia or Canada. Then you can consider your 5 years experience to be exempt from the English language test. But that is only for SMC, which is skilled migrant category, nothing to do with essential skills.
So, right, okay, well, that got your question answered. The next question I have is from Sukhwinder Singh. I work at a liquor store as an assistant store manager and I'm planning to apply for manager visa, essential skill work visa from the same employer because we have this position vacant. Could you please tell me how long will this new visa be valid for? Moreover, as I've done level 5 and 6 in business, so could I get my visa renewed for a second time? In other words, can we get essential skill work visa twice for the same position? Could you also let me know about the pay rate suitable for liquor store manager?
So I think you have a few questions there, but to answer your question in general, you can apply for it again. The position needs to be genuine and you have to be qualified. So there is no restrictions for you to reapply as long as your skill level is mid-skill or you're falling under the mid-band skill level. If as a store manager I would assume that if you're getting paid more than $20.65, then you would be in the mid-skill band, and that would mean that you may be able to reapply for the visa.
And about the payment threshold, income threshold?
So there is no income threshold for essential skills, as I said. You only get categorized as either low, mid or high depending on how much you're getting paid and what your ANSCO occupation is.
Right. So one of the last questions that I've got from our readers on an email is from Yadwinder Singh. I had 4 years experience in horticulture, level 4 certificate for level, I have certificate for level 5 and 6 business management. So I had 2-year work permit as senior supervisor that recently ended. I now have a visitor visa currently active and was hoping for some advice if I would be able to get essential work permit if I apply from another company for the same position.
So what position was that again?
He was working as, he had just mentioned that he had 4 years experience in horticulture. He was working as senior supervisor.
So if you're working as a senior supervisor, then your position would be obviously either a shift supervisor, or you may, if you're getting another position, then you may be a duty manager. In that case, yes, if your employer goes through all the process that they need to go through, and again coming back to whether you are suitably qualified, so whether you have relevant work experience that an ANSCO requires. So when you check your relevant experience, what you have to check is ANSCO terms every occupation in terms of what is considered to be suitably qualified. So either you need a bachelor or diploma as part of the formal education, or how many years of experience would substitute for that formal qualification. So let me just give you an example. So let's say that if you are a chef, for example, if you think you are a chef, then what ANSCO suggests is you either need a diploma certification as part of your formal qualification, but if you don't have that, then you need at least 3 years of relevant experience to be termed as suitably qualified. So same thing happens here as well. Either you need formal qualification or the number of years of relevant experience.
Right. I hope, Yadvinder, you got your question answered. We've just got a couple of more questions. We will just take last because we have to obviously wrap up this session soon. So a question is from Harvey Minhas. What about bakers? Absolute shortage all around the country. Any good news for them?
So with anything that is on skills shortage list, you have to make sure that you check 2 things, because what most people do is they check whether their occupation falls under the skills shortage list, but what they fail to check is whether they meet the requirements as well that is given in that skills shortage list. So let's say that if a baker, for example, if it is in the shortage list, but let's say that if it requires you to have formal qualification as well as relevant experience, and if you fall short of experience or qualification, then you may not be eligible to claim points, or sorry, not points, but to claim that you have an occupation which is under the skill shortage list. So that's something you'll have to make sure that you check whether you meet the requirements. As long as you do, you can say that your occupation falls under that.
Right. Okay. We've got another question from Somil. I don't know what it means, but it says, what is the current 2PC timeline? I don't know what it means. 2PC timeline?
I have not heard of that.
Samil, if you're watching, could you please post your question again with what you mean by 2PC timeline? Okay, one last question I've got is from Gurjinder. I have applied 2-year work visa employer assisted and is declined. Now I'm going to put in E61. Can you please tell me how long the process takes?
So I assume you means you want to apply under section 61. That's something, it really is case based. So there is no general advice when it comes to section 61, and in order to discuss, we really have to check why your visa was refused in the first place, and what are the new situations or circumstances that have arisen which makes you eligible for the new visa maybe. So it's a question that cannot be unfortunately answered in general, and you can always contact us, and then we can check your case and find out.
Absolutely. So do not forget to contact Samip after this video, and I'm sure you'll be flooded with phone calls and questions, but we'll just take, there are several questions people are putting. Harpreet Kaur had just asked the difference between work visa and essential skill work visa. Harpreet, in the beginning of the video, we requested Samip to explain that, and he's explained it. When you'll watch this video, after we finish it, you'll be able to know that. And then there is a question from Liki Reddy, Prabhakar Reddy. Hi, I'm working in logistic company. I got work visa on inventory supervisor position, but now they changed my position as a rework team leader. So now do I need to apply for variation of condition again?
Yes, you'll have to apply for variation of condition, but what you should have made sure, or if you haven't started working for the new position, you should always apply for a variation of condition first before you start working for the new position.
All right, so we will quickly wrap this up. In the end, I would just request you to let us know if there are any recent changes in immigration policies related to essential skill work visas.
So the recent changes that happened was with relation to the remuneration threshold. So basically the skill band got changed, of course, and the changes that were made were mainly targeting the occupation which were the low skill band occupations, and what happens to the duration of the visa, which is you can't get a visa for more than 1 year, and that you cannot support your dependent, either children or partner, if you're doing a low skill band job, except for few circumstances. So those were the recent changes, and yeah.
All right. So I know you still have got so many questions. I can see so many questions popping up on our Facebook timeline. But we will have to unfortunately wrap up this session. But I promise you that we will get Samip again in the next session, just a week after this one. So next fortnight, Samip will be back here and to answer your questions, and we will announce what the topic is going to be for the next session. So thank you so much, Samip,
That's okay.
for answering so many questions.
No, I enjoyed them. I enjoyed the questions, and there were some very good questions. And just before we wrap off, I also want to add that we are doing this for the education purpose. So in case, I have tried answering the questions that were customized, but nevertheless, in order to give you precise advice, I will have to look into your case. So this is an educational video, and it is no way an immigration advice.
Absolutely. Thank you for the clarification. So if you need proper guidance on your particular case, you need to contact Samip. We will post the contact details soon, and you can also tell what is the contact number where they can call you.
So you can contact us on 0800 287 749. And we're based in Queen Street, 300 Queen Street, and we operate as licensed immigration advisors, both for New Zealand and Australia.
Well, absolutely. So they are licensed immigration advisors, and eligible to give you right advice. So if you need advice on your particular case, your particular visa, go and see them or call them today, tomorrow, whenever you want. Thank you so much, Samip. Thank you for coming here. We will see you. We will not let you go so soon in the next episode.
Sure.
So thank you so much for doing this video with us, and thank you so much to all of you for joining.
Thank you guys.